What would you say you do here?
It's the Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast. A podcast dedicated to up-and-coming bands, labels, artists, and more. Plug in and join your host, Brad Nunnery, as he dives deep into what the future of music has to hold and discover something new along the way. What else do you have to do?
Hey, this is Adam from Glassgrave. You're listening to Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast.
That's the latest song and music video from our friends in Glassgrave. It's called Crosshairs. Many thanks to Adam for recording that promo for us. Really do appreciate it, man. If you want to find out more about Glassgrave, you can find them online at Glassgrave UK. All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Brad Nunnery. Welcome to Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast, episode 10. Set to talk to us today is a New York metalcore band called Advents. I've got Spizz and I've got Joe from the band set to talk to us today about their brand new song LCD that they just dropped not too long ago, as well as a current EP that they're working on. We're going to dig deep into these guys' songs, talk to them all about their band, how they came together, all that good stuff. But right now, here is LCD on Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast.
You're such a snake. You slither up and travel through my veins. Your ill-intended tone has turned my glass heart into stone. Words that's off your mouth and mouthing lies you won't admit. You push me past my limits. And this is dishonesty. I'm hungering for honesty. You're looking introspection. Do your own reflection at your own discretion. Self-preservation. These are the seeds that you've sown. You'll always be alone. Everything you never know. Apathetic to the bone. So let's hear your case about how you're more than just a waste of space.
Joe and Spizz from the band Advents, thank you so much for joining the Signal Chords, home of the Underground podcast. Really do appreciate it, guys. Thanks for taking the time to come out.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I was just telling Joe earlier that you guys are my first metalcore band, so I'm really super excited to interview you guys and talk about metalcore and how you guys kind of got into everything. We just came out of the song LCD, which is your latest single. It's a brutal song. It's heavy. It features a Downswing. Harrison, I believe, is contributing on the track there. Is that correct, Spizz?
Yes, sir.
How'd you come about with doing this thing with them?
So when we were recording in the studio with our producer, Jonathan DeLeese, he's up in Nashville. He actually suggested it because he's good friends with them. They are from our area, from New York area. So it made even more sense. So he suggested, he's like, hey, like, I think like Harrison would be sick on this song. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So then he contacted him. They were down, and then we just worked back and forth from there on, working on his part and whatnot, and that was it. It was actually a pretty smooth process, which was nice.
Yeah, no, it's because I've been listening to a lot of your songs this week just in preparation for the podcast, and by far this is probably the heaviest song to date. You do definitely have heavy songs, and I love the clean vocals as well. But this song is doesn't have those. It's straight in your face, which I really love, and I love the music video as well. It's really heavy, and as well as you guys have a lot of music videos for your singles, which is really awesome, and they're really done well. And from what I hear, Spizz, you have a lot to do with the editing in those videos, don't you?
Yeah, for the first two, well, not the first two, but for Relentless and Stigma, those were the only ones that were shot that were edited by someone else. Beyond that, our second single, which also had a video, which was Negative Space, that one we actually shot ourselves. And then I edited it, and then from there on, I pretty much just edited all the videos thereafter. And shout out to our videographer Kurt from Sirius Sigma. He actually, serious cinema. He actually lets giving me the opportunity to be able to edit the videos and whatnot. Like, I always appreciate it, and always really fun to work with him. So
Yeah, they're really well done. And I've been enjoying all of them because, like I said, I've been going about all week and watching every single one of them. I really love Red 13, and I know you guys are working on an EP. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But you said you guys are from New York, so whereabouts in New York are you guys from?
We're all in and around this city. Most of us are just outside New York City,
Okay.
North Jersey. So we practice in North Jersey, about like 20 minutes outside Manhattan. So we usually say like Metro New York area just to keep it simple. Because we're down here all the time anyway. It's just cleaner that way.
Sure. Yeah. No, the reason why I ask is because my whole family's from New York. My dad's from Garden City, and my mom's from Long Island. So
Okay.
I have a lot of family up there. So that's the reason why I asked. But that's awesome. And what's kind of the metalcore scene up there like? And is it a healthy one? Does it need some help? Is there a lot of really cool places to play up there? Do you guys play a lot up there, or what's going on up there?
Jake, I'll leave it to you.
I would say Jersey has a pretty good scene. There's local shows going on all the time. I think in the 2010s, it was like pre-COVID, it was a little stronger, just like state of the world wise, and it's still kind of recovering a little bit. I guess Jersey wise, I mean, if you were to ask the biggest band that has come from, I guess the bigger scene is obviously Lorna Shore. I mean, they're kind of like flying the flag for the whole state at this point.
Right.
But I mean, there's smaller bands that we're friends with, bands that members of our band have been in that are from the area that are playing shows all the time. So it's still alive. I think it could use a little bit of a bolstering up, I guess, in my opinion. I think music in general could, live music and all that. But yeah. And then as far as us, we haven't played our first live show yet. We have an announcement coming very soon. Yeah. Most people are like, wait, you haven't done a show yet. But
yeah,
we're kind of,
that's crazy.
Yeah, we've been waiting to put all the pieces together in the right way to make the first one very good. We didn't want to just hop on some random bill.
Sure.
And so that something will be coming on that very, very soon. So
you were saying that you guys haven't played together live yet. So how long have you guys actually been together, and when did the band form?
That was like, we formed originally the band was me, Seb and Chappie, which are the two guitarists in the band, and then from there, that was like around 20, I think it was like 2020 is when we formed technically. We because like COVID happened and everything, but we just, our old bassist, he's not in the band anymore. His name was Noor. He kind of put us in a better mindset as a band, so we wouldn't jump the gun on anything. So we'd kind of take more of a precautious approach, I'd say, to like releasing our music and making sure the music's higher quality. So we had songs, but we were like, oh, these are good. Like, let's work with these. But he was like, no, like these are good, but we should take them to a producer who knows, how to make them even better than what they are.
Sure.
So that was something we weren't even considering doing until he was in the band. So that was kind of the mantra we following doing that. So we always never really cared too much about playing shows, more so about working on our brand and our sound, and making sure that, if we do ever play a show, like, we want people to come out and be like, yo, like make it like this, important event. So now, 3 years later, we're like, all right, like we announced the band, I think in 2021, September 2021. But we've been
Relentless came out 2021. Yeah.
2021. So we've always wanted to play a show, but we've also always kept our mindsets on let's improve our brand, let's get people listening to us first before we even play a show where people don't even know who we are. So now, we've also, we've learned a lot from then and now. So now I think we're like, maybe it's time to play a show. It's not like we're going to play a show like every, week, every month, but we're like, let's at least get our first show. Let's see how that goes. And then let's keep working on our band and our brand and, getting our music out to the right people. So
Yeah, that's one of the things that I noticed about your band, and that's why I was kind of floored that you guys hadn't played live before, and it shows. Job well done, number one, because I would have never known. I mean, from your social media presence, the way that you design everything, it's very professional looking. It's very, you would think you guys were on this big giant label and selling out arenas. I mean, it's like that kind of quality to me. And also the music videos, and one of the things, and I was back and forth to work, all last week listening to your songs, and I just love how well produced every single song sounds. It's tight, it's multi-layered. It's not gritty, but it's well polished. I love it, the way that it sounds. So I mean, well done to you guys and to your producer. And who'd you say that was helping you on the producing side of it?
Sorry, Koz, you can go. I don't want to.
No, that's fine. The first we've been through, I don't want to say we've worked with, depending on the sound we're going for and where the vibe is, we've worked with a few different people. So the first few singles were with Ricky Armelino from Ice Nine Kills, Hawk, various other bands. And then we, from there, worked with Randy Pascarella from the band If I Were You. He's a producer as well in the New York area. And he was working with us on Match My Misery. And then we also go down, as Spizz was saying earlier, we go down to Nashville and work with John DeLeese, and he works with everybody. I mean, Kane Hill, that's the name we always go to, but I mean, he's all over the place in the metalcore world. And that process working with JD is great. I mean, we went down there for like a week in March, and we just, sat with him, and he's very open to input from us and very relaxed to be around. It's not a high pressure situation recording with him and testing ideas out. He'd be like, yeah, let's try this. And then we go back and forth. It's not like, why would you want to do that or anything? So, and I think that having different people at different touch points throughout the process so far with us putting music out has really helped us find our sound. And, and I think I like where we're headed with it.
Yeah. And is there anything, do you guys like being in the studio and recording the process, or you just rather record your instruments and go play? Or are you guys real technically savvy to where like you need for it to be a specific sound? What's kind of the recording process, or any likes or dislikes about it?
I don't think there's any. I mean, I guess there might be a dislike, but I guess it more so works with us kind of just working on some draft ideas, and then we usually send them over to JD and whatnot, and sometimes he might use it, and sometimes he might not, or maybe he'll take something from it and then he'll kind of just rework a song that we sent him. Or he might just scrap it and then be like, how about that? How you guys like this one? And we're like, oh. And then from there, he'll send it back to us, and then we'll send notes on what we don't like, what we do like. But usually for the last cycle, our songs were pretty much ready, majorly ready before we went into the studio, which is where I would just track my vocals. So we get the vocals done. And then from there on out, everything else would be, track finals and whatnot. But I think if you're talking about like a negative, we take a, we live in New York, so we have to like book plane tickets, and we go down to Nashville and whatnot. So, I mean, we're going down there to write another EP in the next month. So, I think the only thing that's negative is like the pressure that, I guess for me, I'm speaking personally, in my mind, where I'm like, I want to improve. I want the songs to be better. So it's just like, it's like more of like me just picturing the future. I'm like, are these going to be better than the other ones? Like, how do I make them better? It's like the stress of like, oh, how do I like make this bigger and better? And, obviously I'm the vocalist and whatnot, but like, it's like, I also just think about it on just a grand scale. I'm like, is it going to be better? Is it not better? But that's, I would say the only negative is the pressure. But the pressure I make for myself. So.
You say you go down to, excuse me, you say you guys go down to Nashville to record it? That's where you guys are going down to?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So you guys got to, spend that out of pocket cash to get down there. So like you basically want to be buckled up before you even go down there, right? Because time is money, money is time, right? So you want to go down there with every idea and everything, so you can get in and out and accomplish all you need to do. And how long do you guys plan on going down there for? Is it like a week or a couple weeks?
So how long were we there? It's fun. You know what's really funny? I was just thinking about this before. Is that we were actually there this year. We were there early this year. Now we're going back again this year.
Yeah, it's technically in the same year. Yeah.
We were there in January, right, or February? February.
March, I think.
Oh,
beginning of March. Mm-hmm.
Wow, even more so. So yeah, like we're there in March, and now we're going to be there next month again. But sorry, what was your question again? I forgot. My bad.
No, I said like how long would you guys be down there? Like if you're gonna make that trip down there, are you gonna go down there for a week, a couple of weeks, or depending on how long it takes to actually record it?
We were there for 4 days in March, right? Was it 5 days?
It was like 5, yeah, and this will be around a week. Yeah.
7 days, yeah. So, right now I think it's gonna be tough. Just gonna say that, like it's gonna be a rough week that week. Getting everything done. But
sometimes even with the lyrically too, like just to go on what he was saying, sometimes like structures will change and stuff, or we'll scrap things, and then it's like it changes different lyric ideas or melody ideas, and then like one song we just, I think it was like a 12-hour thing of just writing lyrics all day. It was LCD actually. All that was written in one day, and we were like, what are we even going to do? Like, you got to figure out how it should flow, and then what you want to say, and then if what you want to say can fit into the mold of how the song, like, and we're just back and forth, and then we start to like not fight, but it'll be like, no, that sounds stupid, and then we start bickering, and it's like it's a little stressful. But at the end, like now that the song is out, that just using LCD as an example, you listen back and you're like, that's pretty tight. Like that idea, I'm glad that came out that way. So I think looking back, it's like you could be proud of it, but in the moment you're a little stressed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love I love LCD. What does LCD stand for, by the way? I was curious. Or does it stand for anything?
Yeah, it stands for lowest common denominator.
Okay.
So
at the song too, we have it like there's a part in the song where it has like the movie, like a movie line, and it says we're not part of the
it's not our job to appeal to the lowest common denominator. So basically what the song is about is just somebody who's wronged you, and it's just like it's very like transparent, I think, or it's just like kind of F you to people that have wronged you. So it's like they are the lowest common denominator of type of person, I guess. So
I love the what are the lyrics? So apathetic to the bone, you'll fucking die alone. I love that part of the song. I mean, you guys say that a lot, but I mean, just at the very end, the one part of that song at the very end, and that breakdown, and then how the way it ends, that was perfect to me.
So you know what's funny? You know what the funny thing about that is that so when we were writing it, So I'll give you a quick rundown of like how that song, like the lyrics came to be. Seb, our guitarist, usually I'll write the lyrics, or with Red 13 I worked with Koza on the lyrics, but for these songs that we did, it was usually me and Koza. But for LCD, Seb was like, really, it's his favorite song. So he's like, yo, like I want to like write the lyrics, like let me like write the lyrics. So while I was tracking vocals for one of the other songs, he was in the living room just writing this giant friggin' like story of like really angry lyrics, and I'm just like, oh my god, dude, this is funny. So there was like I forget, I don't know if You'll Fucking Die Alone was in there, but the Apathetic to the Bone was there. I remember there was like we took some of it and then we worked with it, but the fucking die alone part, we had it to start the song, so it wasn't You'll Always Be Alone, it was just You'll Fucking Die Alone, and then it would start the song. So then when we went to the studio the next day with JD, we're like, all right, so this is how it's gonna start. I was like, die alone. He's like, whoa. Start the song with that. Right. I was like, oh. And we're like, and then I remember Seb's like, we can't? Really? He's like, and then I guess Seb was like, okay, it's all right. But we ended up leaving it at the end there for that like breakdown hit, which worked way better than using it, in every chorus of the song. So But yeah, it's just funny when people say that because we meme it all the time, like you'll fucking die alone.
Yeah.
Our chat and stuff like that. So it's just funny, like when you said that. That's why. I think that's why.
No, it's a great song, you know, and I kept on, you know, rewinding it. And I'm like, man, okay, this is a brutal song, not only just musically, but like the lyrics, and it's straight to the point, and I love it. It's brutal. So okay, so we talked about you guys are going down to Nashville to work on your EP, but LCD. Red 13, are they? And those are going to be on the EP as well, on this EP that you're putting together. Okay, and then what about the Misery, Match My Misery? Is that going to be on there as well? Because I know that was released this year, or that not be on there.
No, that's just like that was just its own thing that we did. It was actually we kind of used that to like keep our releases consistent.
Yeah.
So that one we did with Randy Pascarella, and not Jonathan DeLeese. So we don't want to obviously put it on the same EP, but also the vibe is just a bit different. But that's kind of what it was. It was us kind of just trying something different, which it did well.
Yeah.
So.
The state of mind I'm in. Your silence haunts my heart down my shadow. Further out than I go, you won't save me, and it is plain to see you don't match my misery.
Yeah. And so when you were talking about your release, like how often do you plan on releasing songs? Like, kind of what's your like timeline as far as, okay, we need to release another single? Do you guys have like a kind of a game plan, like every 3 months, every 6 months, once a year?
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, in 2023, you're kind of a slave to algorithms, whether you like it or not. So it's like we try to do every, 8 to 10 weeks. 10 is kind of pushing it. Obviously, we haven't done that throughout the life of the band, but now we're trying to just have songs that are ready to go. And we kind of like that process anyway. Aside from the whole Spotify game, it's cool to see like all our artwork kind of comes together where it's different variations of the same thing, kind of. Like on the first EP, we had all the pictures kind of combined to finish out the EP. So it's like each song tells a story, but they all correlate. So in a way, it does make sense to put each song out one by one and give it its own like due attention. And then they all kind of come together and you could listen to it from start to finish. So I think conveniently it kind of fits the vibe of what we'd want to go for anyway. But to answer your question, you're probably going to be hearing a lot from us over the next year and a half plus. We're just going to keep going for it.
Yeah, no problem there, man. Just keep them coming, keep them turning out. So I want to get into Red 13. I love the music video. It's probably one of my favorite songs out of the more melodic songs that you guys have. The video is incredible. I love the industrial. It's almost like semi-industrial sounding, kind of like the keyboards or the synthesizer or whatever that you guys use. I love it. It reminds me a little bit of Static X, a little bit, and then it goes into just like brutal stuff. I love how brutal the verses are and how they transition into that just beautiful choruses. I love that song. If you guys could talk about a little bit about that song, how that song came together, what it's all about, and all that good stuff.
It's good, Cos.
Yeah.
This song's actually we wrote. I'll let Cos say.
Yeah, it's I guess you could take it from the beginning. So that song was originally. There was a good chance that it was going to be called something different, and it's a lyric in that. This is the final song, where he says, "I'm chasing phantoms." The song was probably going to be called "Chasing Phantoms" originally, and then we kind of took a look at what it meant, and I spoke to Spizz a lot about this, and he was talking to me about some struggles I face sometimes, mentally intrusive thoughts, stuff like that. And he was like, why don't you gear the lyrics more towards that direction? And I've never been so like candid about anything like that before. and it's not totally blatantly said in the song, but when I listen to it, I mean, it's all there for me. So we kind of sat down initially like at my kitchen table and like just kind of restarted everything. We kept a couple lines that I had, but we kind of just started from scratch more or less. And then I think Spizz went home with that and really went to work on it even more and took it to the next level. But essentially, I mean, it's just about, I mean, if you look at that song through that lens, it's intrusive thoughts, it's obsessive thoughts, it's feeling like you have to do certain things at certain times to fulfill that nagging voice in your head. A lot of stuff that I personally deal with on a very regular basis to varying degrees. And then to be even more specific, the title of the song are two things that are very personal to me with things that have bothered me and stuff. So Spizz, we were talking once and Spizz was like, we're just going to call the song Red 13 because it's going to fuck with you kind of thing. And I was like, you know, that's like, it's a good, like, what do you call it? Just exposing yourself to that, I guess. Like it's very like in your face about stuff that's very personal, but it's themes of that, and then different members in the band can relate to it in different ways. But that's kind of like we dubbed LCD Seb's song Red 13's kind of like my song in that way. So
screaming their superstitions. Don't wanna know what it means. The sequence comes through. Let me bleed. This everlasting sense of peace. I'm the ways that I need. I couldn't call for my defeat.
It's a great song and well done. It's almost more meaningful, you know, when you have something, you can really sell a song when it's a personal song, right? So it makes it almost most worth it, and you can definitely hear it in the voice and in the lyrics. Really killer song. I'm glad you guys are putting that on the EP. How many songs do you guys plan on having for the EP that's coming out?
We have 2 more for this. We've been just doing 4-song EPs because obviously, you know, we'd love to do like an album, but I mean, if we had an album, we'd probably just be releasing singles still anyway, because it's just the best, you know, plan. But yeah, it's going to be we have 2 more songs left on this EP, and then we're going to be doing another 4 songs when we go back into the studio next month. So that's why
you guys have
consistent throughout. We're going to keep having songs just coming.
Sure. Yeah. Do you guys have? You know, you're saying you're going to put out another EP and talking about a full length, and maybe that's coming down the line at some point. You'll kind of do a physical release, maybe a possibility. Is that kind of in the works later on down the road once this EP goes down, or?
I don't know. I think an album only makes sense. I mean, I'm assuming you'll agree with me, Koz, but I think as for us, an album only makes sense if we're picked up probably by like a label or something. It doesn't really make sense to do albums. Well, I'm sure, you know, it wouldn't be a bad thing, but financially as a band, like we don't we don't have money to be like doing a whole full album. So for us, like it's all funded by us, so we have to like spread out, you know, our releases and spread out, you know, EPs. 4 songs is expensive, even 4 songs. So imagine 12 songs, like so we all have normal jobs and whatnot, but even so, it's not the band is like an expense. Like it's a passion project, but also like an investment for us. So
it's tough too, because people reach out to us and we've gotten like, I mean, I'm not going to say it's thousands of people, but we've probably gotten 10, 15 messages from people, and they're like, I want to buy a vinyl, I want to buy a CD. And going back to the show conversation, you know, we're still looking at our first show coming up soon, and people are like, if you come to Australia, I'm coming. And we're like, how the hell we're not coming to Australia. It's like, it's cool as hell to hear, but we're like, this is all us just out of pocket right now, trying to grow this thing organically. So it kind of kills me when somebody's like, I want to buy a vinyl, and we're like, we can't afford to press vinyl right now. Like,
Sure,
I'd love
sure.
to have the first EP with all the colors on a physical piece of media that somebody could have on their wall. Like, if we had that at our disposal, I would do anything. But we're trying to just prioritize a little bit more right now with what we need to be doing, and then hopefully in the future we can expand.
Yeah. Are you guys, speaking of labels and trying to get label support, is there any labels like reaching out to you, or are you guys doing all the legwork trying to reach out to labels and tell everybody who you are? And how does that kind of work when you're a band just starting out and you have, a whole batch of really great songs? Those demo days of sending in the tape and the CD to the record labels and all that kind of stuff is pretty much done. You could just send them the Spotify link and just say, hey, check us out. How difficult is it to kind of reach out to labels, or have you even started to look for labels to put out your music?
We haven't done anything that's super intentional yet. We're kind of just focused on growing, having a product. I hate the word product for this, but it is
right.
Having a business, a product, a thing that you're proud of to bring to someone. So we're kind of just focused on growing that right now. We do have some good people in our corner that we go to for advice, and people who have connections and stuff. And I know we're on the radars of some people, and it does come back to us. And when you hear it, it's pretty cool stuff that I won't really say, but it is tough. I mean, especially metalcore, this world, it's like you're competing for attention. You're competing for people's attention, period. In this, new world we live in with attention spans and stuff. And and then there's just so many bands and so many people trying to do it. So we're just kind of looking, I think, at ourselves first, rather than just trying to we're going to get signed to the biggest label in the world. That's not even really the goal. We just want more people to hear us. And if a label gets us there, great. If we do it independently, great. I'm just going to see. Yeah, honestly, at that point, if we could do it independently and have freedom, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if the right fit came along and a relationship made sense, I think we'd all be stoked on that too. So
yeah, and I know that like I said, the quality of your songs, the quality of your videos, everything that you're doing, you've lined yourself up perfectly. You've done it, to me, at least to me, I could see you guys, becoming really huge and getting that signed and getting a label out there. So I wish you guys luck on that. But yeah, so Joe, I want to talk to you about, you're in another band called Awake at Last, another metalcore band, and you're also a drum tech for Nita Strauss.
Yes,
how'd
sir.
you get that?
Yeah.
How'd you get that gig?
Yeah, that was, it's a pretty short story, actually. I was in another band that was touring with Nita in 2021. So we opened for her on her Winter Wasteland tour. That was like 6 weeks. And yeah, just got to know her whole camp pretty well, just touring, and kind of stayed in touch with some people on and off. And then one day I got a text from her bass player, and he was like, do you want to come out? It was just, I didn't even have his number saved, and it was like, do you want to come out on tour with Black Label Society? And I was like, who the fuck? Like, who even is this? I thought I was getting, somebody was messing with me or something. Yeah. And I was like, I think I answered. I was like, who is this or something? And he was like, call me or whatever. And we caught up a little bit, and he was like, yeah, we need a tech. And he was like, every day when you're on tour, you stage everything. Like I was in the opening band at that time. So you stage all your drums on the floor while you're waiting to sound check and stuff. And he was like, yeah, we just noticed how meticulous you were with everything when it came to your setup. And you never know when people are watching. So I was like, that's pretty cool. So he was like, here's the deal. Fly out to LA, do pre-production. And did a tour with Black Label. And then I just did a little bit of her last tour, her headlining tour this summer.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I know she's the guitar player for Alice Cooper, but then she also went over and And who did she stepped down from Alice Cooper and then she went over to, what was the band that she went over to for a little while? Was it,
Demi Lovato's band.
Demi Lovato? Yeah. I was gonna say Taylor Swift, but it was somebody like that. That was just random. And then next thing you know, she's back and doing her thing. But that's awesome, man.
She stays really busy. We had an off day on the last tour, and we went over to the Stone Pony summer stage where Demi was playing, and we all got to see the show, like her as the crew. Like we went to check it out, and then she went out on stage and did a song with her, and awesome. That was cool. Yeah, got to meet some of her camp and stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome. And you do other drum tech gigs for other bands as well, or is it just? It sounds like you're really busy with being in Awake at Last and being in Advents and being a drum tech. Sounds like is that pretty much your full-time job? You're just rotating between things, or how do both of you, Spizz and Joe, kind of time manage as far as being in a band and having day jobs and other side projects and all that kind of stuff? How do you guys kind of manage it all?
It's definitely a challenge. I mean, I took the leap from worked at a marketing agency pre and like during COVID. And then I had the offer to tour with that first band. I was in a band called Black Satellite. I don't know if you have heard of them before. They're out with Devil Driver right now doing stuff. But I kind of took the leap to go with them, and then that kind of kickstarted everything. So for various reasons that ended, but I've kind of just been trying to stay consistent since. So between Advents, Awake at Last, I don't really tech for anybody other than Nita. I've gotten some offers, but I also do marketing work at home, and I teach drum lessons at home. So I'm pretty busy in that respect. So it's tough trying to go on tour and find jobs that are willing to let you go. So I'm very fortunate. Shout out to my current employer for letting me go on tours and do stuff, because it's definitely a challenge, and you have to really want to do it.
Like in this day and age, it's like with COVID and shows not being as plentiful as they were. I mean, there was a good 2 years of not being able to play anywhere, all that kind of stuff, and you had to rely on Spotify or just social media presence and all that kind of stuff. It just seems for a band nowadays, it's super hard. And like you were saying earlier, Joe, there's so many people out there trying to do what you're doing and biting for people's attention and what separates you. And kudos to you guys for going out there and doing it. You guys are killing it so far. From one fan experience, I love what you guys are doing. How difficult for you is it is it frustrating to grind every day, or is it you just love it so much and you just want to do it more and more? Is it that part of the fun, or part of the challenge of being in a band, just starting out and trying to get your name out there?
I think it's fun. I mean, for the most part, it depends. Thankfully, like, we're all best friends in the band, so it's like it's not like we're working with people, we don't we just have to get along with because we're in a band, like we all coexist as good friends, out in the band and outside the band. So it's never really for me personally, I never find it like taxing. I think the only time it's like taxing, obviously, is like when we have to fund the band, but beyond that, I mean, I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy coming up with ideas for artwork or editing, whatever videos, or editing a post or whatever it may be. So personally, no, I never really bothered me personally, but I don't know about Koza, but hopefully.
No, it's definitely fun. It's we'll make jokes all the time. Like what did we? Yeah, well, what was the exactly. So we did we filmed a little fun fact, I guess. We filmed the music videos for Red 13 and LCD on the same day.
wow.
which was a very long day. And we'll just look at each other and we'll just make jokes. We'll be like, what if we just like went to the distribution site and just hit delete on everything and just saved all of our money? Like, we'll screw around, but at the end of the day, like I think it's a pretty special thing that you get like 5 guys that it's like an uphill battle.
Yeah.
Very much an uphill battle. Even though you see little successes, then it's like you feel like you take another shot to the foot and you're like, how are we going to do this and whatever. But it makes it that much more special. Like if this hits however many more people, knowing that you persevered to get it to those people, I think is special. Right. And we even got a message like last week, and one guy was like, I've been listening to metalcore for 20 years and you're like my new favorite band, and please don't stop. Awesome. And it's like, we'll send that in our chat and we'll be like, this is like really like makes it worth it. I mean, without sounding too cliche, it's like this dude was touched by what we're doing. So I don't think we'll ever take that for granted.
Yeah, well, you guys were talking about how you guys are all friends, and that makes it worth it, right? And like you said, Spizz, it's not like you got a whole bunch of people off Craigslist and you're trying to make it work because you guys are all fans of metalcore and you're just trying to make it work. You're grinding because that can cause trouble down the line, all that kind of stuff. You guys are friends, and Joe tells me that you guys were all at the Architect show back in 2019 and didn't realize it in Brooklyn. So how did you guys all figure that out, that you guys were all at the same show, and how did you guys all actually? How are you guys all friends as well, too? How do you guys all know each other as far as a band? Do you guys go to school together or live around the same town? Or
it's funny because we actually found out. I think we found out about that like a few weeks ago. We're like, wait.
Yeah, we just found that out. We were like, wait,
oh, really?
Architects Brooklyn, and then we were like, who are the openers? And we all looked at each other like, what?
Like, no, Christian was like, oh, the Architects, man, that show at whatever was like the best. That was like peak whatever. And they're like, and I was like, oh, the one. Where was that? Like Brooklyn. I was like, wait, what year? And then I think it was like, was 2020 or 2021 or
2019, I think.
2019.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah. So 2019. I was like, wait a second. I was there while she sleeps, played and everything. Like, yeah. And then I was like, wait a second. I went there with Seb, and then Chappie was there, and then you were there, and Christian apparently was there too. So we were like, wait, what? That's crazy. So yeah, but I think through meeting each other, I would say, like I said, me and Sebastian, one of our guitar players, and also Chappie. I was in bands with both of them. Both of them were the bands I started. So one was called Sector Zero, and the other one was called Equivalency. And each one of them was in one of those bands. But the band before Advents was Equivalency. I was in a band with him, and me and him ended up leaving that band. And we wanted to form our own band. So I think Chappie, guitarist, had like a party at his house, and we went there and hung out, and Seb and him got along well, and obviously I know both of them. So after that, Seb was like, "Why don't we ask Chappie to leave his band that he's in?" Because he was in a band called Monument of a Memory, which he also ended up having to leave. So he was kind of playing around with the new band, but he wasn't sure about it. So Seb was like, "Hey, like, do you wanna like join like a new band? Like, we'll do a whole new thing." Chappie was down for it, and then. Which was funny. I think we did find our older bassist, not the one we have now, through Craigslist or something. It was an ad. It might have been on like one of the music websites for like musicians needed and whatnot. We met him on there. He clicked right away, and then I think Koza came a little bit after that. I forget how we met, how you came into the band. I don't know why.
Mutual friend, just.
Oh, Michelle. Yeah.
Michelle. Yeah, one of my friends. Michelle was friends with Chappie, our guitarist, and it was kind of like a, metalcore band seeks drummer situation. But like I knew of Chappie. I actually saw Chappie in Monument of a Memory open for, if you remember the band Battle Cross, thrash metal band. Without knowing, saw him in Jersey in like one of his first shows, I think 2015. So it's weird, just that we're all from the same area, so it's not super weird, but it's like how everything comes back around. And it's like I saw you at Dingbats opening for Battlecross, and now we're playing in a metalcore band together. Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's awesome how everything comes together. It's like almost kismet, and that's when it works, right? Because it like I said, it's not like you're picking somebody off the internet and trying to get them to have the same attitude. Because when you guys eventually start going out on the road or start performing, you have to deal with you know, the different personalities and all that kind of stuff, and you guys grinding in the studio and making and doing songs and all that kind of stuff and being friends, it just builds the friendship, right? So when you guys are ready to go out on that road, it makes things a little bit easier, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all clicked very easily for us. So even now, like, I mean, we have like our little spouts, but nothing serious. You know, that's just normal. Being friends.
I always, when it comes to touring, I always say especially if you're an opener for round numbers, let's say there's 23 and a half hours in the day that you're not on stage, that you have to deal with people. So if you're not playing, you're worried about who's sleeping next to you or who's fighting over the last shower in a Planet Fitness or something, or you're pissed because you haven't eaten in however long. So it's like, you don't want to be doing that with just anybody. So I think it would be a good situation for us if it got to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about your influences. You know, I hear a lot of different bands. I'm not even going to say it because those are my opinions, and everybody could have their own opinions. But I want to hear your kind of influences as far as, you know, when you put the band together, saying, "Hey, did you guys have a plan of saying, hey, I want to sound something like this," or were you just like, I want to create something new but be metalcore? But like, who are some of the bands you kind of looked up, you know, when you first started getting into music and wanting to do metalcore?
Want me to go first?
You want to? Yeah, you take it. I gotta think about this.
Behind me, blur wise, there's a flag here. It's not a Confederate flag. It's a While She Sleeps flag. Hold on. I mean, it's kind of there. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're a metalcore staple. They're my all-time favorite band. Like, even so like a lot of my influences, like I always listen to them and I'm just like, wow, I love that what they added, like a chant here, or like their like melodies, like they're always so cool. So not that I try to necessarily draw from it, but I'm also just like, I look at it more from a structural standpoint, I guess. Like they sometimes have like these big like crescendos at the end of their songs. They're like, most of their songs have that big like ending, you know, that like that big uplifting ending, and like I love to add those in our songs. Not like their songs, but like I'm like, I want to have a big ending, like a big like call to action at the end of the song that just makes it like tie it in, and you're like, oh, I want to listen through that journey again. Even if you like the beginning but you love the ending, like it makes you want to listen through that because it makes that ending so much stronger musically. So it's like, that's something that I learned from them that I really enjoy that they do. And I don't try to simulate it, but also like you said the industrial stuff in the songs before, like you heard like the industrial noises, like that's something like I think I like to listen to like some electronic stuff too, and like I think that's always unique when you hear it in a song. It like kind of catches you off guard. So we also try to be different in that regard. Like in Red 13, we try to stay metalcore, but we try to encompass other things, so it just doesn't sound like another metalcore song. As well as me trying to do a juggling act with like different styles of vocals throughout the songs and whatnot, between the cleans and the raspy vocals or the screaming. Just trying to keep you on your toes while you're listening to a song. So majorly While She Sleeps is the go-to, but I mean I can't tell you, like I can bring up I don't know, like I used to listen to Treyu, Silverstein when I was young. I used to love them. It's funny because, you know, a lot of people say like Metallica or Megadeth, they'll bring like Pantera, which Pantera is one of mine. I never really got into Metallica as much as people did, or Megadeth for that. But I'm more a Pantera guy. But yeah, like I mean I'm 32. When I was like 13, I was listening to like Silverstein and Treyu and like Thursday and Bayside and all those like Victory Records bands that really helped me. But now I can still listen to new metalcore like Kingdom of Giants. I listen to like Alpha Wolf, like those bands like that really elevate the genres. Look at those, see what they do. But I never say I want to sound like that. It's just more so like I want to like.
It's more inspirational, right? Like you don't want to copycat them, but they're inspiring you to create something that goes along what they're doing, but not necessarily sounding the same, right?
Yeah, it's like if we're like, oh, like I love the Alpha Wolf has like these heavy, like crazy, like simple breakdowns. Like let's do that, but like let's do it like how we would do it, like with our own sound. Like how would we do it? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I always say While She Sleeps when that question's asked, because it's just the overall like they're my like favorite band. So that's always the answer I'll give. But I'm trying to learn to give a better answer with more with more variables than just one.
Right. No, it's a great it's a great band and great answer. Joe, what's yours? What's your kind of Mount Rushmore of bands that you really love?
Since they Metallica.
If I could give you a Mount, how many heads are on? Is it 4?
Yeah, 4. 4 or 5.
I could give you 4, but it's a longer answer. But it's Metallica, Lamb of God, Silosis, Power Trip are probably my Mount Rushmore of like metal. If it's 4,
sure.
The 5 is always rotating, but musically I'm all over the place. Like if you were to ask me in high school if I'd ever be in a metalcore band, I'd probably laugh. I was always like, I was jamming Slayer with my friends in his spare bedroom, and like it was just like it was either, if it was metal. I mean, I listened to some metalcore bands like Bullet for My Valentine, stuff like that. But then it quickly transitioned to like death metal, thrash, black metal, folk metal,
sure,
like power metal. Like I was just all over the place. Or it was like indie or alternative. You know, I love reggae music. I love punk music. I'm all over the place.
yeah.
What'd you say?
I said or Taylor Swift.
Or Taylor Swift. Yeah, pop.
Yeah,
like I'm all over
yeah.
the place. Yeah, of course. But it's really just, if it sounds good to me, I'll try to draw from it. But in the metal world, like I spent most of high school trying to figure out how I could be Chris Adler from Lamb of God. That was just like, you know, at that time I graduated high school 2013. So like Wrath, Resolution era, Lamb of God, and then obviously Sacrament. Ashes of the Wake is probably my favorite album of all time, period. Just trying to figure out what he was doing. I was like, why the hell is he riding on a splash cymbal? Or like, he just played 3 Chinas at once. Like,
Right.
how the hell is he doing that? So like, I would just sit there with headphones or walk through the hallway with headphones and be like, I can't wait to get home and play drums, and like, you know, hope my parents aren't bothered for the hour after dinner. And they were like super supportive with it. Just me, like,
That's awesome.
Horribly executing, like, now you've got something to die for until I got it, or like, you know, anything like that. But yeah, the first, I mean, Metallica is kind of my be all end all band. And the first time I saw Metallica, I was just like, how do I do that? You know, how do I make that happen? And I think, you know, if I never hit like a van or a tour bus ever again, I think I could look back and be like, that's pretty sick that I got to, you know, get a taste of it. My plan is to keep going and hopefully it grows. But, you know, I think high school me would be pretty proud looking up now.
No, that's awesome. You know, those are all great bands. I love Lamb of God. I can't believe Randy cut all his hair off, his dreadlocks off. That's freaking crazy, dude.
He's back to that Sacrament era, bald, running around. I don't know if you've ever seen those like behind the scenes of him tracking with Machine, but where he makes him run around the block, and because he wants him to mimic like, how he'd be out of breath on stage. And he's like, he was bald during all that. So I'm just thinking of him like smoking and running around the block, and he runs back into the studio and does a take for, I think it's Walk With Me in Hell. I've watched that all that stuff so many times. I was obsessed with all that. Yeah.
So, all right. So last question before we wrap up here. So we talked about influences, all that kind of stuff. Everybody has a guilty pleasure, right? So you're in a metalcore band. You guys are brutal, like make brutal music, all that kind of stuff. What would people be surprised that you actually listen to, that you love, that you probably wouldn't admit to a lot of people, but you can go ahead and tell me, and I'll go first, right? So I'm a punk guy, number one, but I love metal too. Metal's number 2 for me. But my guilty pleasure is Jimmy Buffett. I love Jimmy Buffett. So you know, anything that comes on, you know, I'm in Florida. It's like almost natural to have a cocktail and listen to Jimmy Buffett on the beach and all that kind of stuff. So in that kind of vein, what would people be surprised that you guys listen to that you really love? That's, you know, a far cry from the metalcore scene.
I think I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily embarrassed to tell people this. I really love I don't know if you've ever heard of them, called like Churches. It's like a EDM kind of indie-ish band. kind of sounds like Taylor Swift, but like with more electronics, I guess. But yeah, that would be my choice is churches, or I listen to Taylor Swift too.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, it's tough. To call it a guilty, I'm not really guilty of anything I listen to. Not to be like a cop out. There are things that people would raise eyebrows to. Aside, I'll take out Taylor Swift and all pop stuff. The thing that would probably surprise people most is the fact that I have like a pretty big playlist for like Jamaican dance hall music. Like if you were
awesome.
like, yeah, if you were, I don't know if you know like Vibes Cartel or anybody like that, but like if just picture yourself like on vacation in like a club in Jamaica, like what they would be playing, that. So that's probably what people would be like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was just in Jamaica a couple of years ago. It was my wife and my wife's friends all celebrated their 40th birthday, and we all went to Jamaica. And we rented a house in Jamaica and went to the clubs and stuff. Like, what an unreal experience! And like the music, like you said, like I love it. I love all that kind of stuff. I love the reggae, and I love what the reggae scene's doing now. With Ballyhoo and Revolution and and Pepper and all those kind of bands. I really love that style. I can get into that. It's so relaxing. You know what I mean? When you had like a kind of a rough day and don't want to listen to heavy stuff. You know what I mean?
I think also there's a lot of you could look at it as a totally different thing, like reggae and metal or whatever, especially the pop side of a lot of reggae stuff. It's like when you really start, when I think about what I like about it, there's a lot of rhythms. I mean, I play drums, so the rhythms are there. There's a lot of like bass heavy. There's almost like drops in it sometimes, just like a breakdown would have. So it's like, well, this is so foreign. But then when you really dissect what you like about it, it's even hip hop, like a lot of the hip hop I listen to, I was just talking to my girlfriend about this recently, actually. It's like the type of hip hop that I'm drawn to has a certain sound to me. And I think it is in line with what I like about other genres. So yeah, kind of interesting.
Just before we finish, I did come up with one thing that I did realize people do judge me for is when I listen to like Japanese music. Like when
I thought that's what you were gonna say. Yeah.
Japanese like rock and metal. Like it's really, I watch a lot of anime, so it gets me into like I hear a song I'm like, oh, like I like that song, and I'll go on Spotify and then I'll listen to like an album and I find more songs. And sometimes when I have people in the car, I'm like, I'm gonna play some Japanese music, and then they're just like, what the fuck is this? Don't play this. So yeah,
dude, I had a buddy send me a TikTok. Hey, he's a drummer, and he sent me a TikTok of some Chinese band like playing this like big huge festival in Japan. It was a metal band, and the drummer was just going off. He's like, "You got to check out this drummer. This chick is amazing."
Oh, I think
he's got that like red and like different crazy color hair and stuff, and really long hair, and just going off. And then he sends me a text 5 minutes later. He's like, "Oh, sorry, that's a guy. That's not a girl. Like, but this band is freaking amazing." And I forget the name of the band, but they were freaking incredible. I gotta find out what that band is.
There's a lot of like popular, like all female like metal bands are actually like really popular in Japan.
Yeah.
There's one called Bandmade, they're called, and they're really good. It's all female band. Like, there's no bullshit. They're all playing their instruments, and the drummer's like sick, crazy. But it's hard to get people into that because people don't want to hear like things they can't understand like lyric wise, but also just the music just has a completely different vibe than it does like here. Like it's the same genre. You listen to metalcore in Japan, but for some reason there's like a weird disconnect with structure and just how like everything sounds. I guess even like the mix, just how they do things there and how they do things here. So I listen to a lot of it, so that's why I'm just like I notice those little small things. But I recommend it if you ever want to hear something a little different,
Yeah, hey, send me some links, dude. I'll check it out. I love that kind of stuff. There's a punk, like an older school punk band called Wizzo. They're a German punk band. They're on Fat Records, and they speak all in German, but they have like maybe 2 songs in English, and they're really great. But I mean, even the German songs are freaking amazing because the music is so good. You have no idea what they're saying, but like the music is so good, it doesn't even matter what they're saying. And so it's much respect to Japanese bands that are like that, and any bands that are out there that don't necessarily speak the language. But I mean, there's some bands in the UK that their accent is so thick that you can't understand what they're saying, and like, but the music is just so awesome. You have to go, on Spotify and look at the lyrics and all that kind of stuff. But music's music, man. If it moves you, it moves you, right? So.
Yep, for sure.
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time. What's next? Well, I know you guys are working on the EP. We talked about that, but where can people find you? Do you guys have a website, or are you guys primarily on social media? And tell everybody where they can find you and find out more.
Yeah, I mean, everything, I guess, everything's linked at adventsband.com. We're pretty much every social media platform. Instagram is the one we use the most. It's at adventsband. There's a couple, like I think Twitter and Facebook are Advents US or something, but it's all, if you go to our Instagram or our website, you can find us very easily.
In Google Advents Band, pretty much everything pops up too.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm on every music thing too. Sorry, but like everything music wise, like even Deezer, whatever that is, we're on that.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Well, that's awesome. Really, like I said, I'm a huge fan of what you guys are doing. Much love and success to you guys down the road. We'll be looking forward to that EP from you guys. Please stay in touch, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Of course, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. See you.